to the Generational Awakening YouTube channel. Our aim is to encourage, equip, and empower Christian leaders and parents to effectively nurture the next generation to become resilient, lifelong disciples of Jesus. Today, we welcome our special guest, Pedro Mateus. Pedro lives in Cascais, Portugal, close to Lisbon, and beach, of course, which is wonderful if you ever want to go and visit him. And he is married to Miriam, and they have 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls, 2 of whom are already married. Pedro serves the sports movement through Scripture Union Portugal, and especially through the GOplay, a community group of ReadySetGO. He is on the leadership team of the ICMAV Church in Cascais, and also leading a ministry called Zero Debt in a Christian agency that serves the City Hall in Cascais. Hi, Pedro. It's great to have you with us today.
Hello.
Well, can you begin by first telling us how KidsGames was born?
Some years ago, in the year 2000, KidsGames started. But actually, the story came before that, because the sports movement was already involved with try to reach athletes, but also through the language of sports, the idea of also reaching the local churches, and from the local churches, the community. So how can the power and the language of sports can be influenced in the communities? So KidsGames, actually, they started after some people came to Spain and see in Spain happening some Olympians activities, which was like a competition among different churches and organizations that they actually did for almost 2,000 kids. And that was amazing to see the way that the kids were involved, that they used the sports and the language of sports to communicate effectively Jesus and the Bible. And from that, the idea of KidsGames came. And in 2000, they tried the KidsGames in Egypt. It was one good partnership experience with the sports movement, enjoying some other organizations together, writing a curriculum with games and sports and Bible. And the first experience happened in Egypt. And until today, probably 200 countries already made KidsGames, and millions of kids, they were reached by KidsGames, churches, communities, using this tool, this strategy.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as you see from my cap, I've also been involved in KidsGames in Belgium and in Switzerland, and really thrilled to see how that has been able to engage churches and families, and had a great impact on the wider community.
That's a good idea for us in Portugal, because we don't have any caps like that. But okay, that's one of the good things of KidsGames. Everyone is independent, each country, each strategy, each church, to produce their own things. Or including we could do things without resources, materials, or we can use whatever we can in the cities or the countries that we are, with all the availabilities or facilities, or with anything. And actually we can do, because that's games and Bible that we want to create.
Yes. Well, I've heard that some of the process that you've used more recently is what is called FlashLab, trying to focus on creating new resources. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there are a lot of resources with KidsGames, and not only strategy resources, but also training resources. But what happened is that every year or every 4 years, let's say, there are sports catalytic events or momentum that we should leave them with really active, in an active way, like Olympics, like a World Cup of football, or other events that are really important and catalytic. And this year, we'll have the World Cup in Qatar. And every people in the world, they will hear about this. And we know that a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of families, they will look at TV and watch some games. How can we use this moment, this event, to create these events, or to create these disciple-making tools to help and serve the local churches, the communities, the families, to them to use the momentum, but also to teach the Bible and to teach about Christ. And that's why we produced the FlashLab. We wanted new and fresh resources, besides the ones that we already have for the last 22 years, that are focused for this year for the World Cup. And we started a process that's called FlashLab, which is a writing, creative momentum, where we join people from most of the continents in the world. We call most of the big regions in the world, a lot of countries represented. More than 300 people were involved in this writing process, in this creative process, to create this FlashLab about kids games, new resources for the World Cup. And you know, it came out 31 new resources in completely different areas, and not only for kids.
Wow, that's wonderful to hear that that's such a creative use of the gifts across the church and from people participating from so many different countries.
Yeah, that was great. That's a, you know, today I think COVID took at least some possibility to each one of us to understand that we can talk by Zoom, by WhatsApp, by FaceTime. We can use a lot of ways of working together, even with this kind of distance. We miss each other for sure to be face to face, but there is another way to us to work together, and the FlashLab promotes that. How can I from Portugal and someone from Belgium can contact easily someone from another part of the world, from America to Togo in Africa, or to South Africa or Australia. And together we can actually work together, pray together, dream together about something that will happen, and it will be a global event like the World Cup.
Wonderful. Well, can you give us an example of some resources that have come out of this latest FlashLab?
About the resources that came out, we actually started with the kids games and think about how can we create a resource about kids and games and sports and connected to football. That was the first stage of like dreaming about a resource. But like I said, it came out 31 new resources because we need to look at the world in different way, but also we need to use the best of the capacities of each one of us that were involved. And we came with a new Kids Games website that we will share the link for sure on the YouTube channel. And with this new website, we are actually putting all the new resources that came out of these. So about Kids Games, we came out with 3 new resources. One is Daniel curriculum, so an Old Testament curriculum, a Peter and Jesus curriculum that is a New Testament curriculum, but also we created a values-based curriculum, a curriculum that actually we can join people that easily to reach the community. They can use sports, games, they can use values, but that's hard to them to speak directly from the Bible. But that was this value curriculum. But that was great to see all the creativity come together. But look, that's not only kids games. We thought about how can we engage football. And actually we started a football academy resource, but also a prayer calendar for the football World Cup that can actually serve the people, the churches, and also serve these kids games resources. Because if a church in a place in the world wants to do a kids games during the World Cup, they can use the kids games, but also they can connect to the football academy. Also, they can connect with the families and encourage them to pray for the World Cup. But from this, and we thought about families, actually we need to think deeper on families. We want that the kids and their families, they can be reached by the message that we think that can change their lives. So a new family fit curriculum came out of this Daniel curriculum of the kids games. Now we have a family fit Daniel curriculum, but also some family tools that can help families to be involved actively, like the family challenge, which is amazing. But look, at these moments, we need to look in a way to integrate everyone in the community. One of the things that we always concern is how can we focus on all abilities. kids, because sometimes we produce a lot of games and sports, but we forget that we need to include everyone in the community. So we created new resources on all abilities, like how can we adapt the games and involve everyone? How can we create an all abilities sports guide to involve everyone in the community? This season is a hard season, and we had an extra concern on this process, which is the trauma and the trauma that people are passing, or either to catastrophes, or like we know for now, the war in Ukraine. How can we serve people that are in the borders of Europe or in Europe and they are suffering for the war, or even in Eurasia? So we thought about that, and we actually thought about how can we involve everyone, but also have a special focus on this trauma and disaster context. One of the things is, can we do games with the kids with their eyes closed? Do you understand this? That's hard for kids that pass through trauma issues, and especially through a war in Ukraine and Russia and the countries around. So we involved people to write about refugees like me, KidsGames, or serving in crisis and disaster, tools to serve directly a strategy to reach the community, but also to train leaders to them to use their best, join the best team, and simply serve people that are in trauma and disaster contexts. I think the last thing that I want to highlight from this FlashLab that came out was esports. You know that a lot of people, a lot of kids and teams and families and parents in the world, they actually are really involved with esports, with the world of video games. And we started to think deeply on that. We started to think, how can we promote, how can we produce new resources, probably a new game, probably a way to help parents to serve the kids that are more focused on computers, esports, the world of video games. How can we make disciples in that world? Even if each one of us are at home and simply playing, how can we be involved on that? Last week, I heard from a Brazilian esports organization that works directly in disciple making through esports, saying to me, oh, we had a Portuguese that came to our tournament, and we want to serve him in the best way, but we want to tell him and his family that you have a local church that can follow up him. Wow, amazing. So we are thinking also on esports, running a kids games with the Brawl Stars games, which is a really well-known phone game that's known, but we are thinking deeply on this and actually encouraging a team to produce more resources on this. So the FlashLab should be writing a curriculum of kids games. And like I showed you, 31 new curriculums, 31 new resources came out of this with this creativity. We have a God that is so creative, and we have his Holy Spirit. And if we work together as church, as a team, yeah, we will reach the world. And that's how FlashLab acts. And that's how we thought, how we did the work for the last 5 months.
Wow, fantastic. You've been working so creatively and so quickly to put together these resources in such a vast variety. Do you have any examples of video you maybe want us to look at just while we're together?
Okay, I have. I will share again the screen just to you to check, because new videos came out of these to the local churches to serve that, but also to encourage people to be involved with the kids games. So actually, I'll do that right now. the coming soon is the World Cup, but we are running to show this to the local churches, to encourage translation teams to look at the new resources and translate, and to be used in November and December during the World Cup. A church in Portugal during the winter can do something inside, can create a fan zone to watch a game, can involve the kids and families together, but also a church in Qatar or in another country in the world. They can actually go to the streets in some of the contexts, and they can actually during the summer, because on our winter, that summer to some people all over the world, they can actually do something happen. So the encouragement is, how can we serve better the local churches? How can the teams all over the world can translate and make the resources available? And this is an open source that's easy to understand and to train, and everyone can use, everyone should use. This is to serve the global and the kingdom, and not actually to stay just with us. So please use them freely, and use on the best way that you think. If you need to implement that, if you need to adapt to a different context, please do. That's my encouragement.
Great, Pedro. Fantastic. So people can find all of these resources on the kidsgames.com website.
Yeah. And they can go through that. That's too intuitive. That's easy to get there. And you will identify what are the new resources. And you can complement them. Like say, you use the Daniel curriculum of KidsGames, and you do with the kids the Daniel curriculum. But also because that's a football World Cup, you can go to the Football Academy curriculum, and every day you implement one of the moves that we are teaching about football. But what about if with the curriculum of Daniel, you also can involve the family doing a family fit project? And that's a 5 sessions curriculum that you can extend for more than 1 week, or you simply can do in 1 week. Or like we do in Portugal, we adapt for 1 day, which is nice. That's easy to adapt, easy to implement, and easy to understand. We don't need too much training to involve games, sports, fun, but Bible also.
Yes, and so versatile. People can use them in so many different creative ways, which just fit exactly their context. So that's a wonderful work of a global team serving together. Well, if people want to, if they have other ideas and they want to connect with somebody involved with KidsGames, what would you recommend them to do?
Yeah, they can directly go to the website and communicate, or go to ReadySetGo.world website and also communicate. But I would love to share, probably in the text of your YouTube channel, also my contact and a easy way to people to connect with me or others. What we actually encourage is that this is a movement. ReadySetGo and KidsGames, we are a movement, and everyone should be welcome and be involved with us. That's not an organization. Names and logos are actually organizations or people are actually something to celebrate, but not to put them as, oh, I'm the owner of these. Everyone can own the process. Everyone can use the process, but we'd love to train you or to point you to someone from your country. Probably someone in Africa or Oceania or another place in the world. You want to listen more about these, and contact us, contact me, and I would love to point to someone from your big region, from your country, who knows, from your city, that already did it. And you can partner together, you can learn from each other and can use this resource.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you, Pedro. It's been great having you with us to share about the KidsGames and the amazing resources and possibilities you provide to help each local church. And wherever we are around the globe, we can better serve our local communities as part of the community using the resources. So as you've mentioned, well, below the video, people are going to be able to find the links to the websites and the videos you mentioned and where to contact you personally. and ask any questions. Just to say one or two words about the Generational Awakening, it's not just a YouTube channel, but it's also a book I'm writing. And both aim to encourage, equip, and empower Christian leaders and parents to effectively nurture the next generation so that they can become resilient, lifelong disciples of Jesus. So if you found value in what we have shared today, I invite you to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you can be kept informed about every new video released. And let us know in the comments below what you find the most helpful or encouraging about what Pedro has been sharing with us today, and share any questions that you may have. Then share the link with other friends and churches who would also be helped and inspired to start a sports ministry in their community. Together, let's impact many more lives for good across all the generations. As you may have seen, there were kids' games, but also teen games, family games. So all the generations can be involved in some way or another in these kinds of activities. So thank you again, Pedro, for joining us. Thank you for watching us on this video. Be blessed, and let's keep multiplying the blessing to others.
Amen.
So, bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.